Happy Monday. We are back off a 4-0 run, and we got a 10-game slate. Let's talk some baseball. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I'm your host, Steven, and we're here to start another week of MLB baseball, baby. That's right. And you already heard it off a nice little 4-0 run from the 3-0 on Saturday, 1-0 on Sunday, and some rough luck on Friday, but more on the bets recap in a little bit. We are under 3 weeks away from NFL season, and I am jacked up, ready to roll. We're going to have an NFL season preview video like we talked about. We'll have a date out very shortly on that so we can talk just all things NFL. We're jacked up about it and kind of what our plan is also this season. So I'm ready to get into it, though. We got a 10-game slate on a Monday, and of course, that means we start out with a baseball fun fact. So here we go. Eddie Murray hit 500 home runs, but the most he ever hit in a season was 33. That's insane. That's just some longevity right there. Also, when he retired, there were only 3 players in MLB history with 3,000 hits and 500 home runs. It was Eddie Murray. Can you name the other two? Hank Aaron and Willie Mays. That is pretty dang impressive, that's for sure. But anyways, in this video, we're going to recap yesterday or the weekend, not yesterday, and then we're going to talk good and bad hitter matchups. And because it's a Monday and we do it every other Monday, we're going to talk the aces of bases, total bases leaders in the last 15 days. And then we talk good pitcher strikeout matchups, that 10-game pitcher report. And then, of course, we'll finish it with the best bets, those hitter parlay ideas, and wrap it all up with the recap. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment below like you guys do every single flipping day. I cannot thank you guys enough for all the support during this MLB season. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button as we're on our way now to 28,000 subscribers as we are now around 2 years on the channel. It has been a ton of fun doing it with you guys, and I appreciate all the positivity in the community too over these 2 years. It's been pretty impressive. So that's all I got for you. Let's get into the baseball talk, and it starts with the recap. All right, there it is, a 5-2 weekend, and just like the week before, we lost on Friday and we swept the board on Saturday. But let's talk Friday real quick. Phillies -1.5. I wish I had more offense, but they were up 2-0 pretty much the entire game until the ninth inning. They had a complete meltdown, gave up 2 runs, and then won at the bottom of the ninth, 3-2. Do not cover the 1.5 line. Schwellenbach came through. He was so clutch. He cashed that decently early. So love to get that over 6.5 Ks. D-backs money line. Up 2-0 most of the game, had a bullpen meltdown in the eighth, a bullpen meltdown plus an error in the ninth inning, and we lose the flipping game. Guys, you always, not you always, some of you guys leave comments, why aren't you doing more money lines and overs and unders and all that kind of stuff? Because if you see by my record, I can't catch a flipping break. Look at the game bets right there, -18 units, and the player props are up over 19. I should just stick to player props. It is tempting sometimes when there's a game bet I like. I just can't catch a break, but we're 2 bullpen meltdowns away from just sweeping the entire board all weekend. But it is what it is. Saturday, I went back to 3 player props and we go 3-0. Lodolo under 5.5 Ks, got absolutely rocked and had 2 Ks. It was a beautiful thing. Hunter Brown to record a win. That was another easy winner. And then the third one of Saturday, bet number 6 of the weekend, Griffin Canning under 17.5 outs, another no sweat winner. We had 3 no sweat winners, and then I threw one bet out on Sunday before me and the family headed to the Tacoma Rainiers game, and we got Ben Lively over 1.5 walks, and he cashed for us. I don't know if he ended up with more than 2. I just saw he had 2, and that's all I cared about. So anyways, there is the weekend recap. There's the overall record as we dug out of that huge hole from the first half, and we're still digging. That's for sure. But anyways, let's talk some baseball, and it starts with the good and bad hitter matchups. All right, we got 9 of these for you, and it starts out with Anthony Rendon of the Angels, 6 for 15 with 2 extra base hits versus Seth Lugo. Not a lot of huge names up here. You know, over there on the right, JD Martinez, Brian Reynolds, both 3 for 7 in their matchup. Ref Snyder, 3 for 8 versus Kikuchi, so on and so on. But that's all we got. You know, small 10-game slate, not a ton of great hitter matchups. And now let's take a look at the bad hitter matchups, and we only got 2 of them for you. Pete Alonso, the polar bear, 3 for 20 with 6 Ks versus the lefty Rogers, and Yasmani Grandal, 2 for 15 with only 1 strikeout, though, versus Jose Urania. So that's all for the hitter matchups, and now it's time to talk the aces of bases. All right, here are your total bases leaders in the last 15 days, and no surprise at the top, Mr. Bobby Witt Jr. with 40, and Jake Berger, who's just hitting bombs everywhere, has 39. A ton of big names here. No surprise, Marcell Ozuna hit the ball so well this year. William Contreras, Bregman down there, who went on a crazy streak on the road, Benintendi, and then the youngster James Wood also with 34 total bases. But anyways, that's page one. Let's check out page two now. We got Masataka Yoshida leading it off up there at 34. And then Jordan Alvarez, we talked Jake McCarthy, how well he's been hitting the ball lately. Juan Soto, so on and so on. And then over down there on the very bottom, we have a tie for the last two spots with Call, De La Cruz, Gunnar Henderson, Aaron Judge, and Francisco Lindor, all with 31 total bases. So hopefully this helps you get some winners in some way. And now let's talk some arms. All right, we only got one good pitcher strikeout matchup for you, and it's not great, but it's a decent one. And then we'll talk some other news and notes just to give you some more info as well. But Brandon Pfaadt of the Arizona Diamondbacks facing the Miami Marlins. Miami, fourth highest K percentage versus righties in the last 3 weeks at 27%. Pfaadt almost a K in innings, 135 Ks and 144.2 innings. He's coming off a great 11 strikeout performance at home against the Rockies. He does have similar home road splits, so nothing huge there. And like I mentioned, he's not a huge K guy, still an above average K guy, but August, he has his best month so far striking out guys with a 27% K rate. So that's the only one we got. But let's talk some other matchups in case you're curious why these guys didn't make it. But Hunter Green, it shows he's listed. So as of right now, again, we record this the night before. He's going up against the Toronto Blue Jays, but Blue Jays been about average against righties the last 3 weeks at 23.4%. So it's an okay matchup. It's not a bad one, but just want to point that out. Then the lefty Kikuchi, who let me down last time on his overcase prop, facing the Red Sox. Just like Toronto, they're 15th highest K rate versus lefties in the last 3 weeks, 24.7. And then Taj Bradley against the A's. It might be surprising to you, but Taj Bradley's not been pitching well lately, and the A's have not been striking out that much lately. 18th highest K rate versus righties in the last 3 weeks. So yes, very surprising, but we all know they have been hitting the ball better. And then the final one, Michael King against the Minnesota Twinkies. Minnesota 20th highest K rate versus righties in the last 3 weeks at 20.7%, which is why I did not include Mr. Michael King. So that's what we got for all the pitcher strikeout matchups. And now let's take a look at the pitcher report. All right, these are the first 5 matchups of the day with Brandon Pfaadt, who we just talked about, going up against TBD of the Marlins, just an absolute flamethrower. But Pfaadt, like we talked about, above average K rate, not elite or anything, but 23%. Good command this year, though, 4.9% walk rate. And then Hunter Green against Kevin Gausman. Hunter Green has just been absolutely solid this year. He really has. 28% K rate, 2.83 ERA, 3 expected. It's just been really impressive. Obviously, he can walk a few guys here and there, but 5.8 hits per 9 innings, not too bad. And then Gausman continues to just have an average year. That's just what he is. He's just not a superstar this year. With 4.2 ERA, right around average, 4.25 expected, average K rate. I mean, everything is absolutely average if you look across the board. It's absolutely crazy. And then Trevor Rogers, the lefty, who's had his struggles, especially since he came over from Baltimore to Baltimore. 4.89 ERA, 17% K rate. It just has not been a great season for Rogers. David Peterson, the lefty, one of the luckiest pitchers out there. 3.04 ERA with almost a 5 expected ERA, not missing many bats, and 11% walk rate. He should be coming back down to earth. And then Ortiz, just been okay going up against TBD for Texas, also a great pitcher. And then Tanner Houck versus Yusei Kikuchi. I say Kakachi. But Tanner Houck having a good year, 3.01, 3.47 expected ERAs. Overall numbers, look pretty solid. And Kikuchi, he let me down, but you know what? He still had a decent year. He's had his ups and downs, but 3.89 expected ERA with a very high K rate. So that's what we got for the first 5 pitcher matchups. And now let's take a look at page 2. All right, these are the final 5 matchups with Carson Fulmer versus Seth Lugo. Advantage Kansas City, obviously, in that one. Taj Bradley, like I said, last 3 starts have been ugly. They just flat out have, and he's going up against Boyle. Oh, Boyle rules. 7.39 ERA, just elite. No, he's not a good pitcher either. Not either. Taj Bradley's still a good young pitcher, just has not been good lately. And then Zebby Matthews. That's right. He made his Major League Baseball debut last start. He gave up a few runs, struck out 5 in 5 innings. He was fine. He's a top prospect for Minnesota. We'll see how he does here on the road against a good offense in San Diego, and also facing Michael King, which will not be easy. We all know he can strike out a lot of guys, and he doesn't give up a ton of hits either. He's just had a good, solid season. And then Jonathan Cannon going up against Kyle Harrison, two guys that are just kind of hit and miss, to be honest with you. Cannon is a rookie, as most of you guys know. And then Brian Woo Woo going up against Stone. The Mariners finally won a game, so congratulations to them on breaking their 5-game losing streak. But they're going up against Gavin Stone and the Dodgers. That's not going to be easy, obviously. Woo has done a great job at limiting hits. He just has an average K rate, but like a lot of Mariner pitchers, he does not walk many with an elite 2.5% K rate or walk rate. Sorry. And then Gavin Stone's had a kind of under the radar, just a solid season. 3.63 ERA. But doesn't miss a lot of bats as well. As you can see, a lot of these guys are either average or below average when it comes to missing bats. So there's all the averages on the bottom. If you are new to the channel, hopefully these help you get some winners or at least start your betting day. But speaking of betting, it is now time for the best bets. All right, before we get into these best bets, just have to remind you about our sponsor, KALSHI. It is federally regulated in all 50 states. It's like stocks, but world events that actually interest you. For those of you that have been following us, we do some trades of the day. We've been winning some money and having a lot of fun. So click that link below to become a part of that. First 500 signups get a $20 bonus credit. All right, here we go. Bet number 1 takes us out to Los Angeles, where the Dodgers host my Seattle Mariners. Dodgers on the money line minus 142, Mariners on the money line plus 120, with a total of 8.5 runs. I am sure as heck not taking the Mariners, I'll tell you that. But my best bet in this game, Brian Woo, under 5.5 hits allowed at minus 135. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. It was between that and under 2.5 earned runs. It was close. So if you want to look into both, I don't blame you. But for this bet, let's take a look at that screenshot from Outlier, which, by the way, if you're not a part of it, I don't know what to tell you. It is just a ton of help. But anyways, Woo has absolutely crushed this line. I mean, talk about a hit rate. This is 13 of 14 starts this season. He has gone under 5.5 hits. It's been absolutely insane. And what I like about this bet is that he does not throw a ton of pitches. So we're not going to have to sweat out a guy throwing 100, 105 pitches or anything. He's actually only thrown more than 88 pitches one time this season. That's right. And I expect around 85 pitches this one. And he's been so good at limiting hits. And why has he done that? Well, it's funny you ask. So, four-seam fastball. He uses 50% of the time, a 218 expected batting average. That's impressive. A sinker, which he uses 24% of the time, 201 expected batting average. Changeup, 143 expected batting average, 9% of the time. He uses a sweeper 9% of the time, a 125 expected batting average. Yes, I got a little sports nerdy on that one. But he is tough to barrel up, and he's just been great at it all season. It hasn't just been recently or anything like that. Those 4 pitches make up 92% of the pitches he throws. So if it's tough to barrel a guy up, obviously you can still get bloop hits and things like that, but I like my chances here. He's facing a Dodgers lineup, which at first glance you think, okay, I'm a little scared. This is Dodgers. Yes, they have some hitters, but since the All-Star break versus right-handed pitching, a 244 batting average, that's 16th in the league. 14th in hard hit percentage, that's nothing great either. And now they have no Freddie Freeman, in case you didn't know. That's a huge part of it. Woo has given up a higher average to lefties this season, 221 compared to 185 versus righties. It's nice to not have Freeman in the lineup. Obviously, we got that guy you call Shohei. He's pretty good. But if he wants to walk him every time, that's fine too. But either way, Woo has done this again. He's only gone over this in 1 of 14 starts. I'm expecting 80, 85 pitches here. I think he pitches well and probably gives up, 3, 4, maybe 5 hits. Hopefully he doesn't. I don't want to sweat it out. But give me Woo under 5.5 hits allowed as my first best bet. All right, this second bet takes us out to New York. We got the Mets hosting the Baltimore Orioles. Mets on the money line minus 130. Orioles on the money line plus 110 with a total of 8.5 runs. Yes, I am betting an Orioles game. Ryan is not happy. He's shaking his head right now. But give me the over 8.5 runs in this game. In this game at minus 110, I got on BetMGM was the best odds right now. I'm doing a half unit. Now, why am I betting a half unit, not a full unit on this one? It's an easy answer. First of all, have you seen my record on game bets, which are totals, money lines, things like that? I just haven't got any luck at all. And also, do you know how bad the Orioles hate me? Yeah, it's pretty bad. If you've been following me, they do the opposite of everything I think they're going to do every single time I bet on them. But I'm going to keep taking a chance because that shoot or shoot. You just got to do it. So here we go. Half unit play on this one. I'm going to keep it kind of simple. We have 2 weak lefties on the mound, Trevor Rogers versus David Peterson. Rogers has struggled quite a bit lately, and that's an absolute understatement. 7.53 ERA in August, 20 hits given up in those 14.1 innings, a 357 batting average against in August. That is no bueno. 9.8% walk rate. He's either giving up hits or walking guys with a low 17% K rate. It's not like he's able to get out of jams just by missing a ton of bats and striking guys out. He will find bats, and that's a good thing because the Mets offense versus lefties the last 3 weeks, 6th best WRC plus, 7th best slugging, 7th in OPS. They're a top 8 offense overall versus lefties lately, and you're going to see one of those in the hitter parlay idea as a guy that hits lefties really well. David Peterson, the lefty. In my opinion, he's been getting a little lucky. Yes, you see how many earned runs he's given up the last couple starts and how many hits, and it's been kind of low. He's been getting out of jams, and he is his expected ERA is 5 for a reason. There is a reason with that. One of the big ones is that he struggles with his command. He has now 3 or more walks in 5 of his last 6 starts. A walk is like a single, obviously. I mean, if you're losing your command, you're just handing guys free bases, and now he's facing the Orioles. It's not going to be like some Rockies offense or anything like that. It's the Orioles. They are above average, first of all, drawing walks versus lefties. They have the 2nd best WRC plus the last 3 weeks versus lefties. 3rd best OPS, 5th best slugging. This lineup absolutely rakes lefties. And oh, by the way, you remember Outlier? They also help me out with how guys hit against lefties as well. Just one of many things they do. Look at this screenshot right here. 5 guys on this Orioles lineup have an OPS of 775 or higher. We all know the Orioles. We know they can rake. Will they all go hitless tomorrow because I'm betting them or on Monday? Probably. Let's just face it. But I think both offenses score some runs in this one. Both bullpens don't scare me. Orioles did use Cano, Dominguez, and Perez yesterday. Mets used Reed Garrett, Phil Maton, Matan. I never know how to say it, but both went over 20 pitches. Probably not available. Either way, these are not 2 bullpens that just come in and dominate, so I'm not worried. If you want to take over first 5, I don't mind that either. But we got 2 really good offenses versus lefties against 2 lefties who I think are going to get hit around and can walk some guys. So give me the over 8.5 in this game as my second best bet. And the final one on this video, added plays will be there in the morning on the pinned comments on X and on Discord. Don't you worry. So be sure to check for that. But I got some hitter parlay ideas. Let's talk about it. All right, I got 3 hitter parlay ideas for you. And the first one starts out with that game we just talked about. Give me Mark Vientos of the New York Mets. He's hitting 364 the last 7 days. But if you know about Vientos, we talked about him earlier this year. He crushes lefties. He is hitting 349 against lefties this season. He is facing Trevor Rogers, like we just talked about, giving up over 10 hits per 9 innings. And oh, by the way, Vientos also has 1+ hit in 14 of his last 17 games. Second one, Tyler O'Neill, the ex-Mariner, playing for the Red Sox, though, hitting 311 with a 1.074 ERA. What am I saying? OPS versus lefties. He's facing Yusei Kikuchi, who's given up over 9 hits per 9 innings. O'Neill also happens to be 2 for 2 off Kikuchi for whatever that's worth. And then the third one, Tyler Fitzgerald of the Giants. Let's break this one down, guys. There wasn't a ton of great hitter parlay ideas today, so I dug deep for you. Fitzgerald, 1+ hit in 11 of his last 14. How about 2+ hits in 7 of his last 14? That's half the last 14 games. Yep, hash brown math. 6th most total bases in the last 15 days. You guys already know that. As long as you didn't fast forward through the aces of bases earlier, you saw that. Now facing Jonathan Cannon Beach. He has struggled on the road. 5.05 ERA on the road with a 3.13 average against and a 5.21 slugging. It's not been great for him on the road. He's also on the road versus righties, which is what Fitzgerald is. He's given up a 3.33 average. That's right. I dug a little deep for that one. But anyways, those are my 3 best hitter parlay ideas, my 2 best bets, and all the research help that you need to get some winners. Now, before we wrap it up, let's check out the recap. All right, there they are, the 2 best bets so far. Brian Wu of the Seattle Mariners, under 5.5 hits, allowed at -135. Again, I almost went with under 2.5 earned runs, so maybe hopefully both of them hit. And the second one, over 8.5 Orioles Mets at -110 on BetMGM. That is a half unit play. Any added plays will be in the pinned comments if you did not hear that earlier on X and on Discord. Thank you guys for listening and for the support. Let's have another great week as the NFL creeps closer and closer. And we're going to have a season preview video and futures bets and all that video out here hopefully pretty soon because the season is coming quick. But thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Hope you have a great Monday, and we'll talk to you soon.